Hey, we're going to try and make the case today that every single one of us is not excluded from this blessing that we have the choice to get or not get, which is I can choose to get a sponsor in life or not. No one is forcing you to do that in this recovery journey. But if you want that miracle in your life, you're going to get a sponsor. If you want to work the steps appropriately because you have blind spots, you're going to get a sponsor. I have some friends up here. These are my little brothers. And Cade, we'll start with, are we starting with Simon? We'll start with Cade. And I'm going to stop talking because the question is, who's walking with you in this recovery journey, this thing called life? And these are some seniors at our high school. And I want you to hear it from the young people to the oldest people. And so I'm going to let you guys share. So give us a little nugget as it relates to, by the way, a couple of Scots wrestlers up here. So, yeah.
They need pizza.
Why do we need a sponsor? Just give us a little insight there. Go for it.
Hi guys, I'm Cade, a grateful believer in Jesus Christ, and I'm in recovery for sexual addiction.
Hey, Cade.
Call him Mr. G because he's my Bible teacher, but he's been my sponsor for over 2 years now. And like, first of all, it's just been an absolute blessing in my life. Just daily, every week we meet. And kind of the question that was staged to us is, why do I need a sponsor if I have Jesus? My answer to that would be that, of course, Jesus is completely enough for you. His grace is totally sufficient. And we are completely powerless against our sin. But his grace isn't opposed to us giving effort and using the tools he gives us. And my testimony is completely just encompassed with community and confession and my sponsorship. And it's just like, it's been the most important tool in my life, community and confession. And second, the Bible commands us to confess our sins. And he says that we'll be healed. And it's not that we're forgiven in our confession, but it's that healing comes. Our forgiveness is from what Jesus has done on the cross. And yeah, I think that's about everything I have.
Thanks, Cade.
Hello, I'm Jacob, a grateful believer in Jesus Christ, recovering from sexual addiction.
Hey, Jacob.
And so I've been meeting with Mr. G as my sponsor for about a year and probably like 4 months. And over that, I've like matured so much emotionally and with my relationships and just spiritually as well. It's just helped me overall in my life. And just like, I've come to him and he's pointed out things that I never noticed and just helped me with like accountability for my own addiction and just like me not being able to just hide from it and just go away from it and just pretend it's not there and just continue it and normalize it and stuff. And it's been such a big impact in my life and just such a blessing. And relationally, it's been also just amazing. Like, I remember one time I went up to him and I just go in his room and I'm talking to him and I'm like, yeah, my dad, he's being such a jerk right now. I just don't know what to do. And then he just goes to me, he's like, what is your part in this? I was like, I don't know, but he's being such a jerk right now. and then we go through the part process and then just figure out what can I do to just help with me and my dad in a relationship. And so that's been just such a big help in my life through that, and it's been a really amazing process.
Awesome. Hey, everyone. My name is Cohen Boone. I'm a grateful son of the living King, and I am an addict in recovery from sexual addiction.
Hey, Cohen.
I grew up in Nicaragua. I was a missionary kid growing up. That was who I was. That was who my family was. And, you know, at some point I fell into sexual addiction, and it was something that wasn't talked about then. And in our community, in our friend group, it wasn't ever anything that anybody opened up about. So I felt super alone. And looking back, I'm like, that's what sin does, you know? Sin leaves you in loneliness, and what it does to destroy your relationships is it separates you from community. And so obviously the only remedy for that is community and is Jesus. And I have found that he has gifted me healing in my addiction from community and being in community with other believers, being in community with Mr. G. I've had the blessing of him being my sponsor for 2 years now. And it's just been amazing to see how he's worked in me in my life, how Jesus has transformed my relationships, whether it's with my parents, whether it's how I manage just this broken world we're in, whether it's with my girlfriend, my friends. I like to often think that I have it all together, but I don't. Any of these guys can attest to that. And so it's been super nice to have a guy who can kind of call me out on that. We can be like, no, you're kind of being a jerk right now, because I need it. But yeah, I've found, kind of piggyback off what Cade said, the question that he presented to us was, why do I need a mentor if I have Jesus? And I found that it's been more of how can Jesus move through a mentor or a sponsor? How can Jesus work through it? Because it's not what can I get out of a sponsor on top of what Jesus has given me. It's what is Jesus going to give me through a sponsor? You know, a sponsor isn't going to be your salvation. He's not going to come in. It's actually specified when we confess our sins to one another, it's to be healed. It's not to be saved. But that's a gift Jesus gives us through sponsorship and through being in community. So I've been blessed by the opportunity to be in community with a sponsor, and Jesus has been blessing our relationship and blessing the relationships around me, and honestly has gifted me healing through it. So yeah.
I'm Jack. I'm a grateful believer in Jesus Christ, and I'm in recovery for sexual addiction.
Hey, Jack.
Mr. G has been my mentor for a couple months now, or my sponsor, and just like a huge thing that I've seen in my life through that is just when I'm struggling, I can push it off onto other things. I'm like, oh, it's not my fault. It's because of this. It's because I'm stressed. It's because of that. And I've just seen Mr. G always come to me and be like, okay, why is it happening? It's not that. What do you need to fix? What do you need to change that cycle, to break that cycle? And that's just been huge for me in my struggle. And also just being able to do life with him, just with another man who's experienced it, who's gone through it, and who's found healing. Just hearing his insights and what he has to say is super cool.
Thanks, Jack.
Hello, my name is Simon, and I'm a child of God, and I'm in recovery for sexual addiction.
Hey, Simon.
Well, Mr. G has been my sponsor for, I think, about a year now, and it's been probably one of the best decisions I've ever made. He's given me so much healing, and I found so much healing through having a sponsor, and he's shown me so many different ways to look about things, and just a way to look about a situation just a different way, and just I found so much healing in this, and he's taught me things like not pointing a finger, or how can I point this back on myself, and just really in-depth stuff like that. But with the question that has been asked is, if I have Jesus, why do I need a sponsor? And it states it in the Bible, actually. In 1 Corinthians 11:1, it says, "Be imitators of me as I imitate Christ." And Paul wrote Corinthians, and Paul was a sponsor to Timothy. And Paul represented Christ, and we are meant to look for people that imitate Christ so that we can find refuge in them. And anyways, I found so much healing, and I think it's so cool that
Love you.
Mr. G is here for all these people. And
Love you.
Yeah.
Hey, let's give him a round of applause. You can put it right over there, brother. Love you guys. Thank you. I love those guys like crazy. They're seniors, so they graduate soon. So I'm going to miss them. I'm done. I don't need to teach today. We're good. Actually, I got one other form of experience for you, which is we're posing the question of making a case that every single one of us can benefit from a sponsor. But you have to choose on whether you see it as valuable or not. Many of you are coming into recovery going, hey, I'm just gonna check out this 12-step thing. I'm gonna do this thing on my own. How's that working for you? If you're the only voice you are listening to, that's what got you in trouble to begin with, right? You're the only voice you're listening to. I got one more person, an old friend, that has some words for us today.
Hi, I'm Scott. I'm a believer in Jesus Christ in recovery from drug addiction. One of the first things my sponsors ever told me after a meeting was that, Scott, you don't have a drinking problem, you've got a thinking problem. At the time, I probably looked at him with a blank stare, not knowing what he meant. But over the course of the last 30 years, boy, has that become a reality. And I still work with my sponsor because I have to remind myself that my mind is like a bad neighborhood. I should never go in there alone. And that's why I continue to bounce my ideas, my plans, my thoughts off of somebody else who can speak into my life and guide me in the right direction when I'm off base, which I often am, or affirm that I'm on base when I think clearly and straight about my life. Hi, I'm Scott.
Some of you, he might be familiar to you. He was our former Celebrate Recovery pastor. Love that man to pieces. And he just carried a lot of wisdom for a lot of us in here. And so grateful. If you're here for the first time, I just wish you got to meet him. He's a great guy. And so love him, miss him, miss you. 3 key relationships in recovery. So let's go ahead and go there. The first one is Jesus. And so in John 10:10, it says, Jesus says this, I've come that they may have life and have it to the full. See, Jesus doesn't want us to get stuck in our control issues, our addiction issues, our lust, our drugs, our alcohol. Jesus has come to set us free from those things, and we need to experience some of that relationship. Wouldn't you agree? That's what we're looking for. 3 stems, 3 relationships that we need if we're gonna work this whole recovery thing. And some of you that are here for the first time, you're like, this sounds like a lot. I'm out of here. Please don't run away. Don't run away. You might not be where you want to be right now, but that can change as God moves, because the miracle is not going to happen by how amazing and smart you are. It's going to be when God decides to move, that is when it happens. But there's principles that we can, recovery principles that we are going to practice along the way that brings forth success in so many different areas. The second aspect of relationship is your recovery group. Do you have an accountability team? Are we going to group? Are we not going to group? And for some of us, that doesn't necessarily have to be the CR groups. Are you going to your community groups, right? Going to AA and NA and SA and all the A's, okay? All right? Are you going to your recovery group? Again, we want to move away from our only voice that we've listened to for far too long, which is just our own voice, right? If we're the only one we're listening to, you and I are in trouble. Because when I listen to my voice, it's all about, I'm a victim, it's all their fault, look how bad I have it, if you only knew. Those things keep me stuck. I need my recovery group. I need to stop isolating myself. The third branch is this, my sponsor. He who walks with the wise will become wise. So the 3 key aspects. were Jesus, my recovery group, and my sponsor. Do I have those? I'm running out of time, so I'm going to fast forward just a little bit. And so let's go ahead and go on to the next slide here. Why do I need a sponsor? This is the most common question that gets asked. My wife and I, we do first-time guests a lot. And one of the most common question is, how do I get a sponsor? What's this whole sponsor thing? But hopefully, I'm going to make a case that if you are here with someone, you're like, you've come to recovery because they're jacked up, right? I'm not jacked up, but they are. Even you need a sponsor. Sorry if I just offended you right now. And for the person that is jacked up, it's not a time to say, see, I told you so, right? We all need one. We all can benefit from one. It's biblical. Hebrews 10, 24 through 25. Let us think of ways to motivate one another to acts of love and good works. And let us not neglect our meeting together as people do, but encourage one another. Let us think of ways to motivate one another in acts of love and good works in the good times and the bad times and the horrible times. Right? We don't just want relationships that just tell us good things when good things are going on, but I need someone to challenge me when bad things are going on and I'm playing a victim and I'm blaming and I'm trying to control everyone. Because in my effort to control, I'm pushing everyone else away, aren't I? But it should be done this way. Any other control freaks in the house, right? Yeah. I'm right there with you. Proverbs 27:17, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. I didn't grow up sharpening knives or swords or anything like that, but I've heard of the process, and the process is a grind. It literally takes forever. It's not just hey, let's meet once, and then I'm gonna be fixed. It's, I gotta meet over, and I gotta meet over, and I gotta meet with them again, and I gotta meet with them again, because my relationship with my sponsor is unending till I die. But Josh, don't I just need to do the step study like these guys did? 20 guys. Hey, gentlemen, 20 new sponsors. Okay, I'm telling you right now, for those of you that just went through a step study, some of you are sponsors, I know that, but some of you are not sponsors yet. You just went through the 12 steps. The whole recovery process is about. Each one teaches one. Each one, teach one. And that will unlock even more. Step study, brothers, even more. You will be blessed. I'm telling you, these guys right here, they spoke a lot of good things about our times, and it's fantastic. But they blessed me probably way more than I blessed them. Each one, teach one, be a sponsor, get a sponsor. And as we can see in that last little section there, one another is used in the New Testament over 50 times. There's a reason for that. You and I were not meant to live on an island. You and I were not meant to live on a little Christian island with God. You and I were meant to have God there and some other people there. Have you invited people to your little island? Or is this still isolated with you and God? And I can guarantee you, it's not working out, is it? Invite a sponsor to that island. Why do I need a sponsor? It's essential. We can't see ourselves clearly, right? Because we look at situations and we make excuses for it. We look at what's going on in our life and we can blame everyone else around us. Well, this is why I drink. Well, this is why I go look at pornography. Well, it's not me. But a sponsor can perhaps help me see that I have blind spots. And would I be humble enough to maybe ponder that? My sponsor is not God, but maybe there's something there because I'm at a place where maybe I do have a blind spot here. Right? Recovery requires rigorous honesty. This healing that we seek, and I'm not trying to scare anyone. Please keep coming back. Right? If you're 80% honest, keep coming back with your 80%. Right? If you're 50% honest with your life, keep going back with your 50%. Our goal is to get you to be a little bit more honest along the way. This is a recovery journey, not a destination. Right? But the goal, rigorous honesty, is to be the 100% you. That with you and your sponsor, that you can finally have someone. I remember with me and my sponsor in step 5, when I had that date. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Where I had that date where I was going to go talk with my sponsor, and I'm going to share some of the things that I struggled with. And there was about 7 of those things that I never told another human being in my life. And the anxiety going into step 5 of sharing some of that stuff, being rigorously honest with another man. And I'm telling you, God hooked me up that day because there were some chains that were broken that day. And it wasn't my sponsor that broke them. It was God, God through my sponsor just hearing me out and loving me despite all that guilt and shame that I was carrying, right? I didn't want anyone else to know that. But it works. It's simple, but it works. But why do we complicate it? Why do we complicate it? He who hates correction is stupid. I love that verse. I hate it, but I love it. Like, I need to be able to be challenged. And if I fight against that, I'm the stupid one. Right? Do you have someone that has that? And just the truth that the truth often hurts before it heals. And then it sets you free. So understand that concept, right? What are you looking for in a sponsor? So we're going to pose that question. They must be the same sex. Okay, guys, we meet with guys. Ladies meet with ladies. Are we different? Hold on. Let me ask that question because our society is a bit confused. Are we different? Yes. We are. Okay? We're different. Guys, meet with other guys. Ladies, meet with other ladies. And enjoy that time together. All right? Another thing to look for, do they have all 3 of the relationships? Do they have Jesus? Do they have a recovery group? Do they have a sponsor? If they do not have a sponsor, would they make a good sponsor? I'm sorry, but they wouldn't. Because who's speaking into their life? Who's helping them see their blind spots, right? Are they humble and transparent themselves? So as you talk about life, are they willing to be humble and transparent themselves as well? And do they care enough to tell you the truth? Do they care enough to say, hey, you're a procrastinator. Hey, you're in denial. Hey, you got a lust issue. Hey, you lack self-control. Hey, you got an anger problem. Hey, you're in a victim again. Hey, you're blaming again. Hey, you're self-righteous and you're a perfectionist. The list goes on and on and on. Do they care enough to tell you the truth? And are you and I humble enough to hear it? I don't have to agree with it. Maybe there's something there. I'm not seeing it yet. I can pray about it and come back to it. Okay? What is the role of the sponsor? All right? I love this part. What is the role? You're able to share in the 100% you. You can be you. Not a fake you, not 90% you, but 100% you. Most importantly, they're going to help you work the 12 steps. Are they going to work the steps for you? No. They're not working the steps for you, but they're going to help you work the 12 steps. You need to be the one that's working the 12 steps. They help you to see your blind spots. They're helpful in times of crisis or possible relapse. And I just added a side note there. Sponsors or sponsees can be laid off. Are you married to your sponsor? Right? You're not. For some of us, we've been with our sponsors for quite some time. But it's okay. Sorry, I'm rushing these last few seconds here, but how do you find a sponsor? Pray and ask God. Go to group, whether that is your community groups or whether that's your CR groups. Go to group. Can you relate to their story? Is their story ringing a bell into your own life? Something to really ponder as you think about getting a sponsor. Come to the meeting before the meeting. We have an opportunity of dinner at 5:30. Come and hang out with people. Get to know people that have worked the 12 steps before. Join a step study and get a sponsor. Go to the meeting after the meeting where we have dessert and fellowship time. Have a chance to talk. Go to community groups and ask. Ask a person, can you be my sponsor? But be prepared. Don't take it personally if they say what? No. Don't take it personal. I don't have time to unpack this, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave it up there on the next slide there. I'm not going to go over all these because we're out of time. But these were 7 things that my sponsor told me when I was stuck in victim mentality, when I was stuck in my addiction, when I was stuck in helplessness, when I was blaming everyone else, when I was blaming my wife, when I was blaming my sons and my kids, when I was blaming my work. He always pointed me in the right direction. I'm really grateful for that. Lastly, get a sponsor, be a sponsor. Each one, teach one. Each one, teach one. You'll unpack even more of that blessing and healing and growth. And don't be afraid to ask for a sponsor. Thank you. Would you stand with me as we do the Serenity Prayer? I have a couple questions for you as far as Open Chair Group. How has your sponsor helped you on this recovery journey? So for those of you that do have a sponsor, I encourage you to answer that first question. I want people in the group to be able to answer their experience, strength, and hope with that question. If you don't have a sponsor, there's an opportunity to answer another question, which is, what's a mess area of your life that a sponsor might help you process? Okay, so there's anyone can answer one of those questions. Don't run away from group, go to group. And as I said this before, if you're here for someone else and a sponsor aspect is for those types of people, I want to encourage you to be open, that we all can benefit from a sponsor. We all deal with dysfunctional life. Would you say the Serenity Prayer with me? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference, living one day at a time, enjoying one moment at a time, accepting hardship as a pathway to peace, taking as Jesus did the sinful world as it is, not as I would have it, trusting that you will make all things right if I surrender to your will, so that I may be reasonably happy in this life and supremely happy with you forever in the next. Amen.